What's up, you guys? FilmFan0599 here again, and today we're going to review Unfriended Dark Web. So what Unfriended Dark Web is basically about, it's about when this guy named O'Brien, I believe, and he finds a laptop in like a lost and found in like a coffee shop, and one night when he's like Skyping with his friends and stuff like that, he starts to unravel that this laptop has some stuff on it. Some stuff leaking to like the dark web, and some very unsettling videos. And let's just say some things start to unravel while they're discovering this stuff. So what did I think of Unfriended Dark Web? Now, going into this movie, I didn't have much expectations for it because, for one, I'm not a huge fan of the first one. I think Unfriended, the more I think about it and the more I kind of just, because originally in my original review I thought it was decent. I gave it a B-, but more I think about it, it's kind of like a C, to be honest. It's really not that memorable, and plus it's really not that good either. A lot of the characters were not that great in that original. I found a lot of the stuff predictable in the original film. And with the sequel, I felt like they were going in a much more different direction with this. Still the same, laptop, screen, all that crap, but they weren't trying to do supernatural stuff. They were trying to go with the dark web. And that concept had me a little bit interested, but I still didn't really have much expectations because still I really wasn't the fan of the original. I think this, at first I thought the sequel was kind of unnecessary. But then I saw the film, and I gotta say, I ended up really loving this, honestly. I am surprised of how much I love this film. This is one of the most surprising sequels I have ever seen in my entire life. This movie is actually really great. Honestly, this movie is actually fantastic. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of blown away, honestly. This movie is great. This is a great sequel. This is a really intense and kind of disturbing horror film, to be honest. I quite loved Unfriended Dark Web a lot. And we're about to get into those reasons of why I love this so much with the positive, so here we go. So here are my positives. First with the positives is the acting. I actually thought the acting was actually pretty good, honestly. The characters are much better this time around. I found a lot of the characters a lot more likable in this one than I did in the original, because the original, it was just a bunch of jerks, basically. They were all basically a bunch of jerks. In this one, they're actually a lot more likable in this one, and you actually are fearing for them in this one, because you do actually kind of like them, to be honest. So, and you're fearing for what's going to happen to them next. And I thought the actors were actually really good, to be honest. I honestly, they made me believe that, they were a nice group of friends and stuff like that. And, I thought they were really good, to be honest. I actually thought they were pretty good in the film, to be honest. That was one of the things that very much surprised me in this film, is that the acting was actually pretty good in this movie, and I actually cared a lot about the characters in the film. And I thought, the way the film handled them were very well, in my opinion, especially with the lead character and his girlfriend, which I'll get into a little bit more into the film with this review. But, I thought the acting and the characters were actually really good this time around, and much better than they were in the original, to be honest. And same goes with the tension and the horror in this film. Like I said, lot better this time around. I felt very intense. I was on the edge of my seat pretty much the entire time, to be honest. I really was on edge, honestly, and quite disturbed at points, honestly. I felt the movie was actually kind of disturbing at points, to be honest. Because the dark web is a very real thing, and one of my friends and I, we were kind of having a discussion about it a couple of weeks back, and just how dangerous of a place it could be, and the movie kind of exploits that in a way, kind of shows how much of a dangerous place the dark web can really be, and how messed up it could be. And I really thought that was honestly really scary, especially in a time like this where, the internet is taking over a lot and, technology and stuff like that. So I thought the way the movie handled that was actually very well, in my opinion. I really liked how they executed that, and it added to the element of horror and tension in this film. I thought, they did a very, very good job with that in this movie, and, I honestly thought this movie was really scary, to be honest, and, I was on edge the entire time, to be honest. I was really invested, and I thought they did very well with the tension and the horror in this movie. There is, like I mentioned before, the relationship with the main character and his girlfriend is actually really good, and it adds a lot of emotional weight as well to the film, because the main character has to kind of do some things. He doesn't want to do some things in this film, but he kind of he's got no other choice, or else they're gonna kill off his girlfriend. And I kind of like that emotional weight in the film and stuff like that. I thought it added a lot more to the story as well, and added a lot more to the main character, I thought. And I thought they did a very solid job with that in the film, and made me really invested in that. So I thought they did a very nice job with that in the film, and adding that didn't feel forced to me. It actually added a lot more to the character, and added emotional weight to the film. So I thought they handled that very well. The writing in this film was really good too. I actually thought it was actually pretty solid, to be honest. I actually didn't think the writing was too bad in this movie. The directing is really good. Just like with the first one, it's all in the perspective of a laptop. And I thought the premise was much better executed here than was in the first film. Honestly, I really liked the directing in this film was actually very good, very well shot. And yeah, I thought they did a very solid job with that in this movie, and it was honestly quite great, to be honest. I thought they used the concept a lot better this time around. So yeah. And the pacing is really good too, honestly. I thought the pacing, honestly, was very nice. It moved at a nice, natural pace for the most part, and I was really invested into the film and interested to see where it could go next. So yeah, I thought the pacing was honestly really good with the film. Now, there is some negatives I do have with the film, and those negatives are, first being, it does follow a couple of, cliches and some typical routes you would see in some horror films and stuff like that. There are definitely moments like that in the film where it does fall into those cliches and those typical tropes you usually see in horror films and stuff like that. So, yeah, the movie at times does get a bit predictable, and you do see some stuff coming, so it does fall in that typical horror element at times during the film. And lastly, I did think the beginning, I want to say the first 10 minutes, it kind of was trying to find its footing. You know what I mean? It was trying to find its footing a little bit. But once it gets going, it gets going. You know what I mean? Once he finds something in the computer, that's when the movie gets going, and that's why I think it really gets really interested. But I do think those first couple of minutes were kind of just struggling to find its footing at first, but like I said, once stuff starts to go down, that's when the movie is really interesting. I was really invested into it. So overall, Unfriended Dark Web is honestly a really surprising sequel. I did not expect to love this movie as much as I did, to be honest. It is a great sequel, and really, it's absolutely surpass its original. And maybe some people might think I'm overhyping this movie a little bit too much, but for me, I honestly really loved it. I thought it was a great, very intense, and like I said, kind of disturbing horror film, and just really the way it exploits the dark web, and just making us really feel for the characters a lot better this time around. It was a great sequel, and I really loved it a lot, to be honest. It's really great, honestly. Like I said, it's quite surprising how much I honestly love this movie. This is definitely one of the most underrated films of the year, and I think a lot of people are honestly really overlooking it. So yeah. So it's time for my official grade on Unfriended Dark Web, and my official grade on Unfriended Dark Web is an A-. like I said, I really love this, to be honest. It's a great film. Definitely very underappreciated. I think a lot more people should really be talking about this. Honestly, it's a really great horror film and one of the better horror sequels as well out there, to be honest. And like I said, the original is not even that great, so the fact that this movie is really great is quite surprising. So yeah, Unfriended Dark Web is a great sequel. Really loved it. Definitely deserves an A minus. So, if you have seen Unfriended Dark Web, please, what did you think of it? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you all later. Peace.